Hello, welcome to part two of Excel or Access, where we are looking at the key fundamental features to look out for when you're deciding what to use, either Access or Excel. In part one, we've looked at data storage. How do we want to store the data? We've looked at analysis. How do we want to analyze? We've compared both of them. We've also looked at multi collaboration features. How do we want to have access to the data? Who's going to be editing? Is it just one person, or are there many individuals who are going to be accessing the, the data? So in part two, we're now going to look at the security features of your data. How important is your data, and how often or how much do you want it to be saved? And also in terms of access, who should have access to it? So, having said that, both programs provide similar features, passwords and encryption, that can help you prevent data loss and protect your data from unauthorized access. However, there are some key differences between Access and Excel in how user level data protection works. So, let's look at data loss prevention. In Excel, your work is continuously saved so that in the event of unexpected failure, you are unlikely to lose much work, if any. However, because Access saves your work continuously, it's also possible for you to make changes that you later decide you do not want to commit to. So you can retrieve your data at a particular point and get rid of the data that you entered at a certain point. In Excel, you can save auto recover information at set intervals while you update your data. You can set 1 minute, you can set 5 minutes, you can set 10 minutes. However, if you set 1 minute, you find that at every minute Excel will close so that it can save, and that might be a challenge if you are continuously entering data. So you are forced to save at intervals of minimum 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so that you avoid those downtime in your execution of your task. Let's look at user level data protection. In Excel, you can remove critical or private data from view by hiding columns and rows of data, and then protect the whole worksheet to control user access to the hidden data. In addition to protecting a worksheet and its elements, you can also lock and unlock cells in a worksheet to prevent other users from intentionally modifying important data. So user level data protection is more available in Excel, where you can hide data, you can restrict certain amounts of data, while in Access you may have to do some bit of programming, even though such functions natively are supposed to be available in a database. I think they did that intentionally because Access is primarily for small businesses, and while they grow, they are supposed to migrate to Microsoft SQL Server or any other databases like Oracle, Postgres, MySQL. So now let's look at file level security. And in that, at a file level, you can use encryption in both programs to prevent unauthorized users from seeing the data. You can also require that a password be entered to open a database file or workbook. So file security level is access to the whole database or workbook. You can set encryption so that people will not be able to see certain data. Even in Access, you can set some encryption on who should see certain data or not. In addition, you can help secure a database file or workbook by also including a digital signature. Restricting access. Let's look at restricting access to data. In Excel, You can specify user-based permissions to access the data or set read-only rights that prevent other users from making changes to the data that they have access to. Access does not provide user level security features natively, so you have to do a bit of few lines of code for you to bring in that functionality. However, Access does support user level security model for any database server that you can connect to. So you can connect to a Postgres at the same time. You can connect to MySQL. You can connect to Oracle or SQL server, and without any line of code, you can have access to the data to view, query, and edit that data depending on the level of access that you have been given. We have moved round circles between Excel and Access. So now we're going to go into detail and say, when do we use Access? So in general terms, Access is best suited when you have to track and record data regularly and then display that same data, export or print a part of that data. Because Access forms provide a more convenient interface than an Excel worksheet for working your data. You can use Access to automate frequently performed actions. Access reports lets you summarize data in printed or electronic form. Access provides more structure to your data. And in the structure to your data, you can control what types of data can be entered natively. You can determine the values to be entered. You can specify how data in one table is related to data in another table. This structure helps you ensure that only the correct types of data are entered. So Access stores data in tables that look much the same as worksheets, but Access tables are designed for complex querying in relation to data stored in other tables. This is the fundamental difference with a spreadsheet. So use Access when you anticipate many people working in a database and you want robust options that safely handle updates to your data, such as record locking and conflict resolution. Use Access when you anticipate the need to add more tables to a data set that originated as a flat or non-relational table. Use Access when you want to run complex queries. Use Access when you want to produce a variety of reports or mailing labels. Common examples for using Access, for example, if you want to manage contacts, you can manage your contacts and mailing addresses and then create reports in Access or merge the data with Microsoft Word to print form letters, envelopes, or mailing labels. Inventory and asset tracking. You can create an inventory of items in your home or business and store photos or other related documents along with your data. Order tracking. You can enter information about products, customers, and orders and then create reports that show sales by employee, region, time period, or some other value. Task tracking. If you want to track tasks, organizing, lending, libraries, events, planning, nutrition tracking. So these are just a few of the many examples that you can use Access. We've talked about Access. This course is about Excel. So let's go to Excel. When do you use Excel? So as a spreadsheet program, Excel can store large amounts of data in workbooks that contain one or more worksheets. However, instead of serving as a database management system. Take note, Excel is optimized for data analysis and calculation. You can use this flexible program to build models for analyzing your data. You can write simple and complex formulas to perform calculation on that data. You can pivot the data anywhere you want. You can present data in a variety of professional looking charts. So use Excel when you require a flat or non-relational view of your data instead of a relational database that uses multiple tables when your data is mostly numeric. Use Excel when you frequently run calculations and statistical comparisons on your data. Use Excel when you want to use pivot table reports to view hierarchical data in a compact and flexible layout. Use Excel when you plan to create charts regularly and want to use the new chart formats that are available in Excel. Use Excel when you want to emphasize your data by using conditional formatting icons, data bars, and color scales. Use Excel when you want to perform sophisticated what-if analysis operations on your data, such as statistical, engineering, and regression analysis. Use Excel when you want to keep track of items in a simple list, either for personal use or for limited collaboration purposes. Common examples for using Excel, we have accounting, where you can use Excel for cash flow statements, income statements, profit and loss statements. Those things can be done. Budgeting, whether your needs are personal or business related, you can create any type of budget in Excel. You can create a marketing budget, an event budget, many budgets. For billing and sales, Excel is also used for managing billing and sales data. You can easily create the forms that you need. For example, sell invoices, packing ships or purchasing orders, reporting. You can create various types of reports in Excel that reflect your data analysis or summarize your data. For example, reports that measure project performance, forecast data, summarize data, or present variance data. Planning, you can use Excel for planning. You can use Excel for tracking. You can use Excel as a calendar. So there are many other examples that you can use Excel for. You can also use Access and Excel together, like I mentioned, so that you can take advantage of both benefits. For example, let's say you created a worksheet in Excel, which you can calculate and analyze the data, but the worksheet has become too large and complex, and many other users need to have access to the data. You can use Excel and Access together. At this point, you might want to import or link your worksheet into Access and use it as a database instead of working with it in Excel. Or perhaps you have data in an Access database for which you want to create some detailed Excel pivot reports and professional looking Excel. So in other words, you can use, you can start with Access and later on use it with Excel. Or you can start with Excel and later on use it with Access in order to maximize their advantages together and achieve your tasks or projects more efficiently and productively. So no matter which program you use first, you can always interchange with or without a data connection. You can bring data into Access from Excel or vice versa by copying, importing, or exporting the data. So we have come to the end of our theoretical class for Microsoft Excel Level 1, where we looked at what is Excel, we looked at spreadsheets and database just to have a more professional, comprehensive understanding. We also narrowed down to single out Microsoft Excel as a spreadsheet and Access as a database, and we looked at them in details because these are part of the Microsoft Office suite, which you can use to achieve your tasks and projects more effectively. You can use Excel and Access and Office, which is Word, together, and PowerPoint as well. You can use them more collaboratively. So this course will take you to the advanced level of Microsoft Excel, and perhaps if your profession requires an integration of a database, I'm also offering a database management course where we'll learn how to use Access also from beginner to advanced level. And perhaps you want an integration of the Microsoft Office suite. I'm also offering proficiency in Microsoft Office, where we look at the integration of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook from basic to advanced. So while this course remains focused on Microsoft Excel, I'm now so excited to go right into the depth and detail of what Excel is. So we're now going to look at the interface of what Microsoft Excel is, how to open the document, how to create a new document, and let us begin our look at the Microsoft Excel. So see you in the next lecture. Bye-bye.